Martial arts school owners, are you leaving tens of thousands of pounds on the table each and every month because of a badly designed schedule? Okay, so before I get into the full nuts and bolts of this, make sure you hit that subscribe button for us, please. Okay, one martial artist to another. About 75-80% of people that watch these videos aren't subscribers. So do me a favor, please. Hit that subscribe button now for us, okay? I'm sure you'll enjoy the rest of the content. Now, if you haven't already invested in a copy of my book, make sure you do so. Okay, I think it's about 14, £15 on Amazon. How to build a highly profitable martial arts school. There is some fantastic information, advice on there. Obviously, I share experience with you. I share mistakes that you can learn from. So definitely be serious if you're looking to grow your martial arts school and purchase a copy of that. Okay, get on Amazon and invest in a copy. It will be well worth the whatever it is, 14, £15 investment. Anyway, going back to the main point of this video, the main topic. Okay, so lots of when I see schedules from the martial arts school owners that are choosing to work with me, they're very, how can I say this now, old school. Okay, so with that, I mean, obviously, the fantastic instructors, they're delivering a brilliant experience, they're teaching their physical art to the next generation coming through, so that ticks all the boxes. However, they're either what I'd class as, one size fits all. Everybody gets thrown into the same class, then you just kind of hope that they go through the belts and hope that they stick around for black belt in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever. If they've got quite an active count and they want to reduce their classes a little bit, then what I'll find is they've either got like a beginners, an intermediate, and advanced, and that type of setup. Again, still quite old school way of thinking. Now, there is nothing wrong with that, but before that, you need another layer. Okay, so just hear me out on this, all right? And one little reminder again, I hope you've subscribed to this channel. You need to make sure that your students, when they're coming into your school, and again, it needs to be choreographed, stage managed well, that they come in and do an intro slash consultation, which is a one-on-one or a small group environment, which is familiarizing them and the parent support network with you, with your team, with your school and so on, the program you're teaching. They then need to come back for a second lesson, ideally within 2 to 3 days. The second lesson then is in a normal, for the purpose of this, I'll call it a beginner's class, a normal beginner's class. But again, you're not just throwing them in class and kind of hoping they, follow or anything like that. You're making sure that again they're in the class, but they've got somebody watching them throughout the class and helping them out along the way. But I'm not going to go too far into that because that's not what this video is about. Now, once they've enrolled, okay, they enroll into a trial enrollment program or a basic level program. So again, when they've enrolled, don't use the word sign up. When they've enrolled, they enroll into a trial enrollment program or a basic enrollment program, basic training program. Now, that's for them to get used to your program, but also for you to see whether they're a good fit to obviously stay the distance to black belt and beyond. Now, depending on how long you've been teaching, been running your school, you know that there's some parents that you're quite happy to see the back of. You know that there's some parents, no matter what you do, they're never happy. Trust me. Okay, I know that. For any of you who don't know me, or the first time you watched this video, started karate in 1997, started teaching like as a brown belt about 1999. Opened my own school in 2004, and obviously 20 years after that, I built up my school. Okay, and like I said, I share lots of the tips, strategies, and know-how in that book. So I would definitely invest in a copy of that book. And again, if you find it useful, give it a 5-star review. It would be greatly appreciated. You need to make sure that during that trial enrollment program, that they're seeing why they need to commit to black belt, why becoming a black belt is fantastic. So again, improve focus, respect, discipline, determination, all of these things that the parents should be able to see and notice, which separates you from, your so-called, I'm going to put this way, competitor down the street. Okay, when you start doing things properly, you put yourself in a whole different league compared to anybody else that's just teaching the physical aspects. Now, at the moment, you might be like I was in 2004 till about 2009, 10-ish, just teaching the physical aspects, which is good. Of course it is. That you bring it on and you're continuing the art. However, that's only worth so much, and you'll notice that your dropout rate, your retention is nowhere near as good as it could be. So in order for you to improve your retention and everything else, we need to make sure we're raising the value of the program. So going back to the schedule though, if you can imagine a schedule now, so when we were running 7 days a week, let's just say we were running 6 days a week, okay? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we would have a trial enrolment, and then at the time now I'm going to call it Maths and Leadership. And then on the Tuesday, the lessons would switch. Wednesday they'd switch. Thursday they would switch. Friday they would switch. So at no point, if we were open Monday to Friday, could somebody go, well, I can only do Wednesdays, but you don't have my class on a Wednesday. So we always had a trial enrolment / basic on a Monday. It might be 6 o'clock, but then on a Tuesday it goes to 7 o'clock. On a Wednesday it goes back to 6 o'clock. On Thursday it goes to 7 o'clock. So that way they can choose whether they want to do the early one or the later one. And then again, depending on the day, we'd have them before or after that lesson, those students that had committed to black belt. So it might be hard to visualize this at the moment, and I do cover it in this book. But if you're just offering a one-size-fits-all program and they've got one curriculum to choose from, now, some of my mentees, when I speak to them, they go, well, should I bring in like a ladies only type of class or a tie ball type of class? I'm not saying that at all. So please don't write that down. Hopefully you're making notes. I'm not saying you're going to start to now bring in a ladies only or a men's only or anything like that. Not at all. What I'm saying is you need your basic training program, which has got basic piece of your curriculum in. For me, karate would be a couple of key-on techniques, a couple of kicks up and down, bit of stance work, 1, 2 katas, something along those lines, getting used to the art. Because if they're not willing to commit to black belt, what's the point in making them the best ever yellow belt? Yeah, and that took me a long time to get around, okay? What is the point in making them the best ever yellow belt or the best ever orange belt if they're just going to quit? Okay, so you need to make sure that they're understanding the journey is, if you want to take this seriously, we need to make sure you're committing to black belt, because people that commit are going to achieve things. People that don't commit float around and go from one thing to another. So yourself now probably being a very high grade, you committed. You might not have wrote it down, I'm going to commit to becoming a black belt, but up here you committed. However, you need to make sure your students are really committing, and there's always got to be that, why am I going for black belt type of thing? Why am I going for black belt? It's going to be worth it. I've got all these stepping stones in place, but I know that when I get to a black belt, and again, this is where parents come into play, that my child is hopefully going to have improved focus, respect, discipline, determination, perseverance, grit, resilience, self-control, self-esteem, and all of the things that come along with training in your art. Because you probably now, if you're managing to watch this, underselling your program and underselling your service like I was for the first 10, 12 years. Okay, so there could literally be over tens of thousands of pounds you're missing out on just because of a badly designed schedule, which is a result of you having that one size fits all type of program, kind of hoping that all students are going to stick around. Okay, there always needs to be that what's next. So with your art, you're likely to have the what's next. I know that after yellow belt, it's going to be, in our style, it was orange belt. Then after orange belt, it was green belt. So you're going to have your own colour systems there. So the students know what's next that way, but they need to know what's next after this basic training program. So I'm either going to commit to black belt or I'm not. That's it. Okay. You're not going to say, well, I'll stick around a little bit longer. That doesn't happen. Okay. So some of the information that I've said on this video now, you might be thinking, what is he talking about? This is, I don't understand this at all. What I'm doing is absolutely fine. I'm sure if we spoke and I looked at your schedule, I looked at what you're doing, and more importantly as well, I looked at your active count and the number of students you're dropping out and your price points, I'd be able to see and calculate how much your school could possibly be turning over, and again, more profit, more cash flow in your pocket with a few little tweaks here and there. Is it easy? It's easier than just doing what you're doing now for the next 10, 20, 30 years time. Anyway, I hope you found a little bit of information from this video. Like I said, if you're serious, don't sit on the fence. You should definitely book a free discovery call, but also invest in a copy of that. Okay, How to Build a Highly Profitable Martial Arts School by me. Lots of valuable, extremely valuable information on there. Check out the website, which is mynamedervishdervish.com. Okay, have a look at other things there. Check out some of the testimonials as well. And the thing is, you're either going to obviously be in the same place in 6, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, or you're going to think, do you know what? I'm going to take this a step further forward, and I can guarantee if you do become one of my mentees, that your school will be in a lot better position in 12 months' time. Okay? Anyway, good luck. Take care. Keep teaching your fantastic art. And again, do me a favor, make sure you hit that subscribe button, okay? All the best. Thank you very much. Goodbye.